Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was Reborn as Kyuubi. This story is made by samuraistorm, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Plot. Naruto begins to get strange dreams, seeing the events of when Kyuubi destroyed innocent lives. Things get worse when he seems to lose respect among his friends. Later on in this story, Naruto discovers that Sasuke has been found, but he'll need to unlock a secret power if he plans to get Sasuke back. Note, this story doesn't follow the plot of narutoshippuden, but the time skip did take place. The rescue Gaara plot took place, but Sakura still doesn't know about the Kyuubi being sealed in Naruto. Sai has joined the team and Orochimaru is still alive. By the way, this is a Naruto out of Hinata fanfic. There's gonna be some hints of Naruto out of Sakura, but the most I'll do with them is to have them see each other as really close friends, or like brother and sister. The fire, the destruction, the pain, that was all that could be seen. The village was on fire with the villagers running around in panic, grabbing onto their children, screaming for their lives. The ninjas of the village all surrounded the cause of the destruction. A giant animal stood in the center of the destruction, its 4 legs crushing the buildings under it. Its dark orange fur blending with the flames of horror. Its long 9 tails waved around, destroying buildings that came in contact with them. The ninjas all jumped around, attacking the giant fox with kunais, shurikens, and seals, but they all seemed to be in vain. From what the people were screaming, the name of this giant creature was Kyuubi. Kyuubi roared as the people were in peril and the ninjas protecting the village were not doing any better in saving them. There was nothing they could do, nothing could stop all this. The fire, the destruction, the pain. Naruto woke up. It was just a dream, but why is he having it? He's been having those dreams for days. Maybe it's a sign for something, but what? He looked outside his window, it was morning. As he looked and stared at the sunlight, he had a sense that something wasn't right. Not the dream, he knew fully well that wasn't right, but there was something else. Maybe a warm shower would help clear his mind. He got into his bathroom, getting out of his clothes and having a towel ready for him. He entered the shower and turned on the water. The warmth of the water soothed him as he closed his eyes and relaxed. It seemed like 5 minutes and Naruto knew it was enough for him. He got out of the shower and dried himself off. As he was cleaning himself up, he still felt somewhat incomplete. There was something still missing, but he didn't know what. Naruto walked out of the bathroom, with the towel wrapped around his waist. He looked at the clock and that was when it hit him. I'm late. Naruto remembered that he was to meet Kakashi-sensei, Sakura, and Sai. How could he be late again? Naruto jumped out of bed and ran to get changed into his orange jumpsuit. He once wore a very bright orange one, but ever since his training with Jiraiya, he got himself a new jumpsuit. He's never been late ever since he got back from the 2.5 years of training, but ever since he's been having these strange dreams, his lack of focus increased. After getting into his clothes, he ran out of the house and ran bullet speed and towards Tsunade Hokage's office. He's late again. Sakura commented with a small growl. Naruto's habit of being late began to grow recently. I wonder what's keeping him back this long. Sai said, it's been like this for a while. While Sai, Kakashi, and Tsunade were calmly and patiently waiting for Naruto, Sakura was getting frustrated by this. Aruka stood next to Tsunade's desk, standing there, like her bodyguard. Of course, they all had their share of Naruto's behavior, but Sakura was getting fed up with him. It seemed to be good when Naruto returned from his training, he was able to show up on time for training and mission, but he's been showing up late starting a few days ago. For the first few days, Sakura shrugged it off, assuming he was late because of a lack of sleep due to training, but after he started showing up late more often, she began to get frustrated by it. Even at times when they all had a small break from training, Naruto was still late every time. Moments later, Naruto burst through the door, panting and sweating. I'm here. He panted. You're also late. Sakura growled, this is getting really annoying. I'm sorry. Naruto said, a little sad. He never liked making Sakura upset, it made him feel bad about himself. It doesn't matter, Tsunade said, he's here. No, Sakura snapped, it does matter. Naruto's been late for a long time now and you're going easy on him. Sakura, calm down. Kakashi said, let's just get on with our assignment. While he expected Sakura to either do as he said or retaliate, he didn't expect Naruto to be the one that would speak at this moment. Listen, I said I was sorry. Naruto said, with a strong tone of aggression. Where's this aggressive tone coming from? Naruto never talked like this to Sakura, why start now? Can we just calm down and go on with our assignment? Sorry's not gonna see it, Naruto. Sakura said with anger. Of course, she was surprised to hear Naruto talk back to her like this, but she was upset about how he was talking to her as well. You have no right to talk to me like that. Naruto talked back. This was beginning to grow into something ugly. Two members of Team Kakashi were in a heated argument and it seemed that none was backing out. You know for a fact that I'm better than you. I'm working my up to become the next Hokage. With the way you are, I don't think you have a chance at being Hokage. Sakura shot a comment back at him. That's enough. Tsunade rose up from her chair behind the desk. This went too far, and she knew she had to end it before it escalated into a fight. Your assignment is suspended. Wait, you can't do that. Naruto said. Realizing that this argument had finally taken its toll, Naruto stopped instantly and looked at the Hokage. You called us here for an assignment, you can't just take it back. This day wasn't going well for him. His day started off with his strange dream, he arrives late, Sakura unleashes her anger at him, and his assignment gets suspended. I just did. Tsunade said firmly, Naruto, you are to train with Sai and Kakashi instead. And Sakura, you are to report to the medical center for your daily duties. This isn't fair. Sakura yelled. She pointed a finger at Naruto. You can't punish us all for Naruto's mistake. My mistake? Naruto asked angrily, you think all this is my fault? I suppose you think you're so perfect and you can't make mistakes. At least my mistakes don't cost us a mission. Sakura snapped. Don't let that girl talk to you like that. Kyuubi. Naruto muttered. You have the power to make them all do what you want. Why not use that power? No. He muttered, you're contained in me for a reason. You can't keep me in forever. Naruto, are you alright? Kakashi asked. Yeah, I'm fine. Naruto replied. Of course, he was lying, but what choice did he have? He couldn't let Sai and Sakura know about his secret with the Kyuubi. Face it, Naruto. Sakura said, you may have grown up physically, but you're still as immature as ever. Just as pathetic as before. She's pushing it. Don't let her say things like that to you. Whatever. Naruto muttered, this is over. He turned away from Sakura and headed out the door. As they all walked out of the Hokage's office, Aruka noticed that something was wrong with Naruto. Kakashi. He got his attention. Kakashi turned around and looked at him. I was wondering. With your permission, I would like to take Naruto with me for the day. Well, that will depend on the Hokage. Kakashi replied calmly, as always. The two looked at the female Hokage for her approval. She sat there, thinking through her options. Very well. Sai and Kakashi will train together, Sakura will have her daily duties at the medical center, and Naruto will spend the day with Aruka. She looked over to Aruka, I'm to expect that you are to have Naruto do some training. Of course. Aruka responded. While the others were doing what was assigned to them, Aruka and Naruto were spending their time at the Ichiraku ramen bar. Of course, they made sure Tsunade didn't know about it. It took some convincing and some money, but Aruka managed to convince others to not tell Tsunade about it. How is it? Aruka asked. It's great. Naruto replied with a smile and several strands of noodle hanging out of his lips. It tastes great. That's not what I meant. Aruka said, I know something's been going on with you and Kyuubi. I want to know if you're alright. Naruto then lowered his head in a small sense of depression, you know you don't have to face it alone. Naruto placed his chopsticks down and finally brought up the courage to tell him. Okay. A few days ago, I started to have these strange dreams. Naruto said, I don't know why I have them, and I don't know what's important about these dreams. What happens in this dream? Aruka asked. This seemed important for him to know. Maybe he should know about this dream. Well, every night it's the same. Naruto began. Because dreams were all the same, He remembered every detail of the dream. I'm in a village, I don't know which one, but the village was on fire. People were running around, scared and ninjas ran around me attacking me. I didn't know why at first, but then I realized that I was seeing things in the eyes of it. The Kyuubi. Aruka asked, "You're talking about Kyuubi, right?" "Yeah." Naruto answered, "Kyuubi. I think it's time you know the entire truth of Kyuubi." Aruka said, "You're 16 now, you deserve the truth." "That truth?" Naruto asked, "What's more for me to know about myself?" A group of hooded figures stood around a room. There were candles all around and lit. The center of the room had a small basket and inside it was a baby. It was crying and it echoed throughout the room. "It's done." One of them said, "The seal has been made." "Do you really think this should be?" Another asked, "The people will resent the child knowing about this. Do you suggest we kill the young one?" Another asked, "Kill an innocent life to spare him the rejection. Let's not forget, he is not innocent." The other said, "Unlike what we did with the one that has the seal of Shukaku, this one is different. The seal is simply there to make sure the human stays a human." "Very well." They all gathered around the crying child and simply stood there as he continued to cry. "Do you understand now?" Aruka asked, "Do you understand why you were greatly resented by everyone?" Naruto was speechless. He didn't know what to say. Hearing what Aruka had told him left him with nothing to say. "You're not just the container of Kyuubi, not the cage, the seal, or the host. You're more than just that." Aruka said, "You're Kyuubi's reincarnation." "What?" Naruto was shocked by this. He lived his life believing that the seal on him was to contain the Kyuubi inside him, but instead it was a seal that kept Naruto a human. "Why didn't anyone tell me? You were too young to know the entire truth." Aruka replied, "Remember when Mizuki told you the truth about Kyuubi? You weren't able to handle that amount of truth as it was, but he didn't know the entire story, I did. When I was relieved that he didn't reveal the whole story, I chose to wait until you were at the age to fully understand the real truth of yourself." "But why wasn't the Kyuubi simply sealed like the others?" Naruto asked, "Why wasn't it sealed like how it was done to Gaara?" This was something Naruto never expected to hear. Not only was he the host of the Kyuubi's power, but he was the Kyuubi in human form. "From what I was told, the power of the Kyuubi was too strong for a simple seal," Aruka explained. The fourth Hokage stood before the large body of the now defeated Kyuubi. He raised his hand and ran it on the Kyuubi's fur. It didn't move, it was indeed weakened. Yodime. Several Anbu arrived to the site. He simply turned and faced them. This is exactly what the Kazakage was referring to. "The Kyuubi cannot be only contained. Then we shall prepare for the sealing." One of the Anbu responded. "The fourth was responsible for changing the Kyuubi into what you are." Aruka said, "While many were told that he is sealing the Kyuubi into you, that was a misguided fact. He gave up his life to reincarnate the Kyuubi into human form." Naruto didn't answer. He still needed time to take in this information. It was some time before Aruka chose to speak again. "You can go if you want. I'm sure you have a lot to think about." "Thank you." Naruto got up from his seat and proceeded to leave the ramen bar. Aruka was right, he needed time to think. He needed time to be alone. Sakura was outside of the medical center. She had just finished her duties and was able to go home. It was now nighttime and she was exhausted from all the patients she had to treat and all the medicine she had to prepare. Sometimes, she often regretted wanting to be a medical ninja, but knew it was what she wanted to do. She was on her way home when she saw something catch her eyes. She saw Naruto was sitting on the roof of a house, looking at the moon, or at least that's what she thought he was looking at. He looks so lonely, she thought. She wanted to go over there and talk with him, but she quickly had second thoughts. What if he's still upset about what happened this morning? Would he still be angry? Perhaps it was best that she leave him alone for now. While Sakura made the decision to go home instead, Naruto was sitting there, not looking at anything. He was more in a state of thought. Finally realizing the whole truth about himself, he needed all the time he can get to think it all out. He suddenly began to have words enter in his mind. "It's that boy. Stay away from him. Don't talk to him, you understand? He's dangerous. No one trusts him, neither should you. They all hated me, thinking I had the Kyuubi sealed inside me." He said to himself, what would have happened if they knew the truth? He closed his eyes, but when he did, he suddenly saw the face of Kyuubi. This image forced Naruto to open his eyes again. The Kyuubi was beginning to grow. Thought news about him being the reincarnation of Kyuubi made his day more strange than ever. All he could do was hope that this wouldn't continue to affect him throughout the rest of his life. He needed to stay focused if he ever planned to reach the goal of becoming Hokage. Naruto got up and attempted to jump off the roof and land on the ground, but he lost his footing and slipped. Naruto fell on his back and began to slide down the roof. He slipped over the edge, but his foot got a hold of a drain pipe. That was close. He looked down and saw a pair of feet below. They sure weren't hid. He looked up to who it could be. Oh, hi. Hi, N.A. Naruto-kun. Hinata was just as shy as ever, but she still smiled. The two were looking at each other face to face. Hinata blushed as red as a tomato, this being the second time Naruto was this close to her face hanging upside down. She still remembered very clearly of what she did then. She didn't want to do that again, but something in her head just forced her to do the regrettable. She reared her head back and gave a small scream. Oh! Naruto only looked helpless as he watched Hinata's forehead come closer to his. The impact of both their foreheads colliding forced Naruto to fall and land on his head. Naruto. Hinata quickly kneeled down to Naruto's side. She couldn't believe herself, she did her best to resist doing the same mistake she made last time, but it just backfired. Naruto. Naruto gave no response. Apparently, the impact of his head on the ground dazed him out. Hinata tried to lift him off the ground, and get him back home, but his weight was too much for her to lift. Naruto-kun. Hinata was getting worried, she didn't want to leave him here alone, but she wasn't able to lift him up on her own. Flashback. Naruto, get down from there. Sakura called out. Naruto was sitting on a tree, resting his eyes while Sakura, Hinata, Neji, and Sai were below. Tsunade's not gonna be happy with us being late, Hinata said. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and yawned. Coming. He got up from the tree, but because of his drowsiness, he lost his footing and slipped off the tree, landing on his head. Naruto. Hinata ran to his side. He'll be fine, Sakura said, this happens all the time. She kneeled next to Naruto's dazed body and gave a firm smack to his cheek. Naruto slowly regained his consciousness. What happened? He looked around him. End. Sorry Naruto-kun. Hinata brought her hand to Naruto's cheek. Closing her eyes, she gave him a firm smack, just like how Sakura did. Ow. Naruto sat up straight from the hit. I'm gonna kill you, Saku. He looked and saw that it wasn't Sakura that woke him from his daze. Oh. I'm sorry. Hinata looked down, still as shy as before. I didn't mean to hit you. Naruto rubbed his cheek. It's alright. Ow. Maybe next time this happens, don't so hard. Why you're not mad are you? Hinata asked softly. Having Naruto upset of her was the last thing she wanted. Of course not. Naruto smiled. Sakura does it to me all the time. Hinata put on a small but sweet smile. She helped Naruto to his feet. Naruto dusted all the dirt off his clothes. What were you doing up there? Hinata asked. Naruto looked up to the roof, remembering where he had fallen from. Oh, I just needed some time alone to think. What about you? What are you doing out here? Father sent me out to find Neji. Hinata answered. You didn't see him, did you? Last time I remembered, he was with 1010. Naruto said. Remembering that on his way to the rooftop, he saw the two walking together in the streets looking for Rock Lee. They asked Naruto for help on finding him, but with so much to think about at the time, he couldn't. Maybe he's still with her. Oh, thank you, Naruto-kun. Hinata gave a small smile, but a hint of pink entered her cheeks. Naruto looked up to the sky and saw the moon shining high up. It's getting late for me. I gotta get back home, or else I'll be late for tomorrow again. Okay. Good night Naruto-kun. Hinata smiled. Night. Naruto smiled back. With that, he walked off, heading back home. Hinata only looked on as her longtime crush walked away from her. Another chance for her to tell him how she felt, another chance for her to spill her heart out, she blew it again. The fires of destruction was spreading around the entire village. Many people were running from the source of this trouble, while the uniform-clad ones ran to the source. The giant nine-tailed fox growled as it was being attacked by small attacks. Though they were small, they still hurt, judging by the roars of pain. Naruto woke up from his sleep. The nightmare still continued to haunt him. He looked over to his alarm clock, 7:16 a.m. It wasn't like him to wake up at this time. Why did he wake up so early now? He rolled back on his bed to sleep, but he just couldn't get himself to close his eyes for long. He slipped out of bed and decided to look out the window for anything interesting. Outside, he saw groups of people walking to a location that was on the other side of the village. Suddenly, Naruto remembered. Today marked the day. Today was the day when the Kyuubi was finally eliminated 16 years ago. The people were all going to the graves of those who escaped from that event. It was as if fate had Naruto wake up early for this event. It wasn't like him to wake up this early in the morning. The sky was gray from the many rain clouds that covered the sun. Rain was coming down on all of them, but it was light. Among the people were noticeable faces, such as Neji, Sakura, Hinata, Ino, and others. There were other faces, ones that were from the people who lived in the village. At the front of the large group of mourners, Hokage Tsunade stood. Today, we remember our loved ones, who on this very ground to save this village from a destruction that seemed impossible to stop. She spoke loudly so that everyone heard. We come here today to pay our respects to the ones that protected us and remember them. Hinata was at the back of the crowd. Her and Neji arrived partially late for this, so they were at the back, but some of the others were with them. Sakura was with the two as well as Kiba and Shino. Coming here every year always makes me sad. Kiba said, I didn't have anyone close who back then, but it just makes me feel so hurt to know that they all to stop just one bad thing. Akamaru stood behind Kiba, wanting to use him as cover from the rain. It wasn't easy, considering Akamaru was now bigger than he used to be. From the trees, near the group, Naruto sat on a large branch, away from the crowd. How could he let himself be seen by the older people? They think him to be the keeper of the Kyuubi. If they found out that he was the reincarnation of the Kyuubi, it would be worse on his part. Need some company. Naruto looked to his side and saw Kakashi sitting next to him. That would be nice. Naruto answered quietly. The two simply sat on the large branch, looking at the people approaching the graves of their loved ones. Naruto couldn't help but feel upset. Even though it was 16 years ago, he knew he was truly responsible for the deaths. He wasn't the hero that the fourth Hokage expected him to be known as. He was still the monster, just in another form of appearance. I didn't think it would hurt so much to see these people cry for their family. Naruto said with misty eyes. I can't really say I sympathize for you. Kakashi answered. He looked over to the blonde ninja. Aruka told me about what he said to you last night. Ever since I knew, I thought I was just the host of the Kyuubi's power. Naruto said, now I realize I'm actually the Kyuubi. As Naruto was deep in thought about the truth of himself, he saw that Sakura was heading to the graves. She approached the gathered bunch that was near where her and the others were gathered. She bowed down to the graves before her. Who were that? Naruto asked. The ones that Sakura is with. He pointed in the direction of where Sakura was, showing Kakashi. You don't know? Kakashi asked. Naruto simply shook his head softly as his answer. With that Kakashi sighed before telling him, each of them were her family. Her grandfather, her uncle, her aunt, and her great-grandmother. That many? Naruto asked in shock. He couldn't believe it. He that many of her relatives. But wouldn't that mean, her aunt and uncle were only kids when they were Kakashi didn't answer. He knew that answering his question would upset him greatly, but to not answer him would still upset him. He didn't know what to say. All he could do was sit there and have Naruto figure it out on his own. No. The people were right about him. Naruto really is a monster. Her. Sakura still bowed down before the graves of her relatives. I never got to know any of you. Sakura said to the graves quietly, as if they were actually living people. I can only hope you're in a better life than here, a life where there isn't any demons causing destruction. Sakura slowly began to have tears forming in her eyes. She slowly got to her feet and walked away from the grave. Are you alright, Sakura? Lee asked. I'll be fine. Sakura answered softly. She wiped the tears off her eyes. The others couldn't feel the same way as she does. As far as they know, as well as their parents, none of their family members in the Kyuubi event 16 years ago. The group simply stood under the tree, away from the rain. Naruto still sat on the branch above them, but was unnoticed. He stared down at Sakura. Seeing her cry was something that hurt him deeply. I'm so sorry, Sakura-chan. I wish I could make it up to you, but I know I never could. He closed his eyes and a teardrop fell from. The drop fell down below him and landed on Hinata's cheek. Ha! Hinata noticed the feeling of a water drop landing of her, which was strange, for they were under a tree and away from the rain. She looked up to see where it had come from, but there was nothing up there, just the tree. Naruto was in the training field, one that brought back memories of his first day as Kakashi's student. Standing in the rain, he brought his hands together to form his signature jutsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The field was scattered with dozens of clones, each of them slowly getting wet from the rain. I swear, I'm going to get strong enough to make sure Kyuubi doesn't take over me. He charged at one of his clones and began to fight. The clone fought back, knowing that Naruto was simply attacking for training purposes. I won't let Kyuubi kill so many people again. The clones charged at Naruto with the knowledge that Naruto is wanting to train to get stronger. Naruto brought his hands together and swirled them around, forming a blue ball of chakra. Rasengan. The next 3 days were quiet days. Because of the special day, many people were still in the state of sadness. Tsunade thought it would be best to give the people 3 days to fully finish their mourning. With the 3 days passed, the day went on like a normal day. Naruto was walking down the streets of Konoha. He was on his way for his usual day of ramen for lunch. As he turned a corner, he bumped into someone and both of them landed on their behinds. Ow! Naruto rubbed his bottom, softening out the pain from his fall. He got up and dusted himself off. He looked at the other person to see if they were alright, but he was met by a familiar face. Oh, Hinata. I'm so sorry. He offered his hand to help her up. Hinata took the hand. Naruto lifted her on her feet. Thank you, Naruto-kun. She looked down on the ground and saw the bag that she was carrying. Oh no, the tomatoes. She fell on her knees and checked the bag. When she looked inside the bag, she saw that many of the tomatoes were crushed. Oh, father's going to be mad at me. Is there anything I could do to help? Naruto asked, feeling guilty for causing Hinata to fall. Oh, I don't want to take your time. Hinata began to stutter as she usually does around Naruto. She's been around Naruto for over 3 years, yet she still didn't have the guts to tell him how she feels, let alone speak properly. But this was my fault. Naruto lifted the bag, letting the liquid from the crushed tomatoes leak out. Let me buy another bag of these. I could get ramen another time. Why you do that for me? Hinata asked. She brought her hands up and began to tent her index fingers like usual. Hinata couldn't help but blush knowing how much Naruto would do for her. Of course. Naruto walked past Hinata, but grabbed her hand and pulled her along. Come on, let's go. Hinata simply blushed red as Naruto was holding onto her hand and pulling her along the streets. He's holding my hand. Naruto-kun is holding my hand. She didn't know what else to do, except let Naruto pull her along the streets and head to the vegetable stand to get a replacement for the tomatoes. Naruto and Hinata were on their way back to Hinata's home. Naruto had just bought Hinata another bag of tomatoes for her to make up for destroying her first bag. He still wondered why her father needed so many tomatoes, but chose not to ask. As the two were walking, they passed by a group of elderly women. It's him, isn't it? One of them asked. Yes, I think it is. Another answered. What do you think she's doing with a boy like him? Another one of the women asked. Isn't she a Hyuga? Naruto couldn't help but get angry. It's been 16 years and they still treat Naruto like this. As they were still in view of Naruto, he shot a glare at them. The elderly women could only look in horror when they were met by Naruto's red eyes. Naruto-kun. Hinata looked when she saw that Naruto was looking upset. Hey, are you alright? He had to think of something. He couldn't just tell her about how those elderly women were talking about him. I was just getting annoyed at my stomach's rumbling. Oh. Hinata quietly giggled at his answer and her cheeks gave off a small tint of pink. Why you sure you're alright with buying these for me? Hey, come on, I ruined them. It was best for me to make it up to you. Naruto said with a smile. Whoa-ho, look what we have. Naruto and Hinata looked ahead and saw Kiba standing with Akamaru and Choji. What a nice couple. Hinata suddenly blushed with a bright red, almost as red as the tomatoes she had in the bag she was carrying. She quickly gave Kiba a look of plea. He instantly knew that she didn't want Naruto to know about her crush over him. She didn't tell him yet. You're still just as harder as ever, Kiba. Naruto said, smiling. I thought you went to eat some ramen. Kiba said, I was planning to meet you there with Choji and Sai. It's a little strange to see the ramen monster not eating his usual portion of ramen. Something in Kiba's words made Naruto flinch slightly. He just called you a monster. You plan to let him get away with that? Come on, he was just joking. But what about those other people who called you a monster? You think they were joking too? Naruto-kun, are you alright? Hinata asked, worrying at how Naruto suddenly changed from his happy self to a look that seemed like he was upset. I'm fine. Naruto snapped. Hinata suddenly backed away from him. Why did he yell at her? Did she do something wrong? I'm sorry. Naruto said with the apologetic tone in his voice, I didn't mean to yell at you. Naruto thought it'd be best if he headed home on his own, so without anybody to tell him otherwise, he walked on, past Kiba, Choji, and Sai. You know what I always wondered? Sai asked, since we know that the one-tailed beast was contained in Kazakage, but who was the nine-tailed fox contained in? Naruto stopped in his tracks. Hearing the word, nine-tailed fox, just forced him to stop walking. He was about 2 feet away from the group. Maybe some freak who plans to destroy the world. Kiba answered, who knows? He's pushing it. Just make him know that you're one to fear. No, I'm not gonna hurt any of them. Why? Because they're your friends. Perhaps they should find who the Kyuubi is sealed in and kill them. Sai answered. That's it. Naruto couldn't control himself. The strength of the Kyuubi suddenly took over him, and with this control over the body, Naruto swung his fist and punched Sai right in the face. Sai fell back and landed on the ground with a bruise on his cheek. Naruto stood over him with a look of anger over his eyes. No. Why did I? Naruto's expression of anger suddenly changed to a look of shock. Sai. He wanted to help him up, but realizing what he had just done, he couldn't. He slowly backed away and ran off, leaving them all behind. Why did I punch him? Naruto asked himself. Why wasn't I strong enough to stop it? In a dark and secluded place, hidden from the eyes of others, a group gathered together. They all wore robes that covered their all except their heads. On the black robes, small patches of red in the design of a cloud were on it. These were the Akatsuki, a group of defected ninjas with the sole purpose of obtaining ultimate power. We have now obtained 7 of the 9-tailed beasts. Deidara said. The other 2 shall be difficult to obtain. Itachi spoke, the 9-tailed fox is the strongest of them all, which would prove difficult to capture. We have captured and extracted the 1-tailed Shukaku. Deidara said, knowing that Gaara was his and Sasori's target, along with the 2-tailed demon cat and the 6-tailed lion. The 3-tailed Tortios is extracted. Toby said, as well as the 4-tailed phoenix. The 5-tailed wolf has been captured. Hidden answered, the 8-tailed boar is also of no threat to us. Now all we need is the 9-tailed demon fox. Itachi said, as well as the 7-tailed falcon. We know where the fox is. Deidara said. But what of the falcon? Kisame asked. The fox is most important. Itachi said, once we capture and extract it, we know that we have dealt with the strongest of the Jinchuriki. Then let us go and capture the fox. Deidara said, I could use some fun exploding the village. Wait. Itachi stopped Deidara from leaving the gathering, it would do no good. Sasori was when the Konoha ninjas came to rescue the Shukaku Jinchuriki. We will need a more different approach. Something that the Konoha ninjas will not expect. What do you suggest? Hidden asked. Itachi stood there, not answering for the first few seconds. From under the robe that covered his mouth, Itachi gave a small grin of an evil scheme. Where are the rest of Sasori's puppets? The next day went along the usual way for Naruto, but this time, he chose to make sure it stayed usual. He went to the Ichiraku ramen bar to have his meal, to make up for missing out yesterday. As Naruto was going on his business of eating uninterrupted, someone had just came in and sat down beside him. Sakura. Kiba told me about what happened yesterday. Sakura said, are you alright? Well, I'm fine, Naruto answered, but I was the one who did the punching. You should see if Sai is okay. I did, Sakura said. He told me that something was bothering you that might have made you hit him. She saw that Naruto was still eating his ramen, but despite this, he was paying attention to what she was saying. You kinda got Hinata a little scared, she's worried about you. And I'm worried about you. Naruto finished up with his ramen. Drinking up the broth, he put the bowl down and put the chopsticks in the empty bowl. Thanks Sakura, but I'm fine. I don't need anyone to worry about me. Naruto, I've known you for almost 4 years. I know that something is bothering you. Sakura said. She reached out and held his hands in hers. I understand that opening up isn't what you were able to do before. I know you were lonely when you were little, but you can't keep everything bottled up inside forever. Naruto started to have a warm feeling of comfort when he felt Sakura's soft hands touching his. He remembered that he would have done so much to be able to hold her hands when he was younger, but ever since returning home from the 2.5-year training with Jiraiya, his infatuation over her wore off. Maybe he was maturing, maybe he's found someone new. It no longer mattered. Thanks for caring, Sakura. He smiled softly. While Naruto and Sakura were sitting together at the ramen bar, from the other side of the street, a certain blue-haired Hyuga watched from behind a pole, with heartbroken eyes. Seeing the two together and holding hands made Hinata realize that she had now lost her chance to tell Naruto her true feelings. Tears fell down her eyes as she watched Naruto and Sakura together, knowing she would have no chance against Sakura. She fell to her knees, while still holding onto the pole that she was hiding behind. No one bothered to stop and ask if she was alright, for none could see her hiding behind the pole. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.